window and look what was there. Little friends.
Well, I guess this is the last of it. We're last of being in Colorado.
I don't want to go.
Yes.
Except for the snow, I want to leave.
It wouldn't be Colorado without a snowstorm in the middle of May. We have both of our trucks down there with the batteries taken out in preparation for being gone for a couple of years, really. And here's a crappy Toyota rental van they gave us. Not happy with it. It's California bare dry weather tires on it, and it suck here. Slipped and slid everywhere. Managed to get everything that we need to take into these 5 bags, which is a real victory for us. But we're a little worried about the weight. I can barely pick a couple of them up. I'll see.
Our little valley.
Here's our home ski area. Park, Colorado. Great skiers in Colorado. Not as touristy as Aspen and Vail, but
Bye.
you having fun yet?
Oh yeah. Welcome to Brighton.
We're on our way to Greece. A little stop off in Brighton. Wendy scheduled an extra day, which was nice.
I used to come here for work. We have a big office for the company I used to work for, and it's just a great summer place, and they got great food down here. So I wanted to show Kevin what it was all about.
Yeah, we had plans possibly on living here, but that didn't work out. We decided to just go sailing instead. So it's nice. Would have been a nice place. But overcast and rainy is the norm. People are wonderful. Indeed. It's the truth. Okay, we just got back about an hour ago, so we wanted to stop and see some friends. Some people met us over at the bar, and that was nice. A couple of people who know the channel met us, which is happening more often, and we always encourage that. If anybody ever sees us out and about, by all means, swing on by and say hi. We'll have some beers and talk about boats. But in the meantime, I've got some projects I have to get to immediately. One of which is get the battery system back up, so we get lighting and the ability to recharge our phones and everything else here. So, but yeah, the boat is covered in a film of dust. So let me break some safety rules, climbing with only 3 hands. I've only spent half my life as a safety officer. But look at this mess here. And this boat was recently polished. And this storm came in from Africa. Storm came in from Africa and covered everything. So we're gonna, and then Wendy comes in and finds a bird's nest in the aft end of our boom. So that was a bummer. She had to kick the family out. She wasn't happy about that at all. So anyway, but the boat is dry inside and everything's good. Okay, so here's our battery bank. And the first thing I want to do is check it and make sure that I've got some voltage in there. I should be getting about 24 volts. Not the 24.8 or so that I would normally get. It's probably lost a little, but I don't want it to be dead. So I'm going to find that out here in a second. So I've got to get to both ends of this battery bank. I can't take a reading in between or I'll get an erroneous number, but all the way over here on this end, and I'm at 26 volts even. So I'm in great shape. Batteries held their power. might as well check the other engine start battery, and the doesn't really matter if it's positive or negative, but I'll stick with the. So on this guy here, I've got 12.8, one start battery. This one I've got 12.6. So things are good. The batteries held over the winter. They didn't get drained by something. So good. We're in good shape. So yeah, batteries are back. I turned the battery charger on. You can see current's at 17 amps. Voltage is at 28.82 because it's charging. It was at 26 before. So this is always a good thing to do, to try to pay attention to what your meters are telling you about your battery bank. And this current will run at medium current. It'll drop in the next hour or two to kind of a trickle charge. It'll start with a kind of a surge of power until it reaches a certain temperature, and then it's part of the charging curve for gel batteries that our Master Volt charger is undergoing right now. And it's a really nice system that gives you a lot of information.
Looking for.
Oh, I was just unpacking one of these bags, just kind of looking at some of the parts we have. Trying to get everything out.
Got a lot of shit in here. Oh, got a lot of stuff in here.
Got a lot of stuff. Yeah, no lighting though. Nice if we had some lighting. So sometimes just getting small jobs out of the way is worth doing. This Sterling Power inverter's in. I'm just gonna have to turn it on and test it here in a second and make sure it's all working. But the old one is the identical model, pure sine wave 600 watt inverter, which is the largest that'll fit in this space. And we use it mostly for charging computers, so it's not like we're plugging hair dryers or anything into it. An inverter takes DC 24 volt power and converts it to 240 volt power, but obviously just doesn't have the amperage behind it that you would see with a wall socket. So you have to be careful about what you're plugging into it. But for charging batteries, it's just about perfect. So we'll see how this works. I think we'll be fine. So all good. I've got the little green light underneath there telling me that it's running properly. And one of the neat things about this inverter, and this has not been the case with other inverters I've had, is that our power draw, as you can see, at 0.15, 0.14 current is very, very low. The inverter itself is not drawing any power when it's not being used, although it's on. It's kind of in standby mode. Other inverters I've had in the past, some of them, the second you plugged them in, they just started drawing a ton of juice, and then you would run a battery down just by having it connected. So we don't want that. So it looks like we're in pretty good shape here.
What have I done? I thought we were going over to Preveza.
It's supposed to go over to Preveza, but the shuttle doesn't run the way we thought. I thought.
It just goes out and back. Out.
It goes out in the morning and back in the afternoon. It's just dumb.
So we'll do it tomorrow.
I'll do it tomorrow. I like my chicken season. These two fall for the rest of this Greek salad. Tomatoes here are fantastic. They do not have hard cores in the middle like the U.S. ones have gotten.
They're fabulous, but they put about 400 of them in each salad.
We got a nice sunny day finally. Been here for a couple of days, and it's just starting to finally get a little bit. We get a little bit of clouds forming, but this is typical. I think what ends up happening is the water evaporates out of the ground and you get afternoon clouds, and maybe even a couple of showers for a few days until it dries out, but then it'll be good. Here's Talisman and Wendy's getting ready to do some paint some of the new Micron 350 from International, which replaces the Micron 77, and I'm convinced it's going to be a crappier product because it's new and environmentally friendly. And whenever you see that, you know it's not going to work. They say, oh, you know, it's not good for the environment. It's bad for the sea life. I'm like, yeah, it's supposed to be bad for the sea life. Otherwise, the sea life grows on it. The question is whether it's bad for the sea life more than a meter away from the boat. But anyway, that's just me being cynical. Here's our new refrigeration system. So I just thought I'm going to unpack this rather than try to bring these boxes up on deck. The guy who's buffing out the boat is coming back to do some cleanup on it because it really doesn't look that great, I don't think. But it has been raining, and so we, anyway, we're going to see how it comes out. Here's Wendy rolling away with her new anti-fouling. What do you think about it?
I think it's going on pretty good. I think I can probably cover the whole boat with what we have, so we'll see. But it is, I think the color's pretty close once it dries.
You have to see how it is when it dries. It's a little bit darker than what we have at the moment, but it's like Wendy says, it's not really dry yet. It's mostly about covering up these blue patches and kind of touching up the areas that, the boat's underwater, nobody's going to really be able to see. This is about keeping growth off. Then we'll do a true anti-fouling in a year or so. I sand it down type and redo it.
When you see it under here, it looks pretty close.
Yeah, well, we think it might have faded, so we're not sure.
Yeah.
Wendy's doing her best to wear as much paint as possible.
Am I? Do I have much on me?
No. Standing under the roller.
Did you want some?
Oh, putting her to work.
I thought I was going to lay on a beach.
I know, that was the plan, wasn't it?
I guess I'm getting a knee tan. Okay, I got all the tape on for the boot stripe. So now I'm going to start up at the bow, see how far I get. Paint dries very, very quickly, so I'm just going to put a little bit out at a time. And maybe Kevin will come down and film me making a mess.
Well, what I got going on now is, this is something that's been a problem for us for a long time. This head, or this forward compartment I should say, smells like crap. I mean, it really smells like sewage in here. And this has been something that's been going on for a while. I've had both of these pumps out. I've cleaned the bilge area with bleach type, cleaners to try to kill the smell, and somehow or the other, category 3 water is ending up in the bilge, and I don't know where it's coming from. I suspect part of the issue is these old pipes. I've heard rumors from other cruisers that after many years, they just start to kind of the air inside permeates through the rubber, and it's time to change out the piping. This piping is pretty expensive to buy, but what are you gonna do? It's part of the maintenance of a boat. So I'm gonna take all of this apart. I'm gonna disassemble everything that I can and get down to where I can have access to all of it easily, and it'll be worth the effort to take it all apart. And then once I've done that, I'm gonna take some measurements on this because I don't want to overbuy the piping. They do sell it at the chandlery, and I'll just need to go over there and tell them how much I need of each size. And then I'll it's a crappy job, but it's just it's a literally crappy job. It's one of the jobs of the boat. Okay, so this is all taken apart. Obviously I'm getting this on video, so I have I do have a record of how everything went, but I will also take a picture with my phone. One couple things to note, one of which is this here is a siphon loop, and so is this big one up here. It may be hard to see back in there. The anti-siphon loops need to be cleaned periodically. These little caps up here need to be removed, and you have to make sure that they're functioning. The reason why they're important is you don't want water siphoning back into the boat. These pipes are very, very difficult to work with. They are so stout. You have to use a heat gun to heat them up, or they won't go on, and you really need a heat gun also to take them off. Anyway, a nasty job. And we've got this pretty much all taken out. I do have a sketch of where everything went, plus photographs of it all. Here's our macerator pump and flow jet gray water pump. The gray water doesn't have any solids in it, so it doesn't really require a grinder pump. But if you want to know what ground up poop looks like, there it is, right there. Came out. Yuck is right. It is nasty, and so that's what came out of the piping. We really couldn't siphon it out or anything. Wendy has graciously volunteered to clean this bilge all up, and then I'm going to try to paint it because it's just looking nasty. Everything's covered with like an oil, and I think it just permeated out through the piping, and I don't know. It's been an ongoing thing for the manufacturers to try to get piping that doesn't allow smells to come through. So each year they come out with something thicker and bigger. Yeah, so Wendy did it. She's done an absolute bang up job of getting this all cleaned out. And then tomorrow once it dries completely, I'm gonna paint it. Get some gray bilge paint. And then we'll just, I'll put it all back together. Just clean the place up and spruce it up one area at a time. So here Wendy is cleaning up all the nasty hose clamps, and we're going to rebuild. We're going to make an attempt at rebuilding this diverter valve. It worked fine before, but we, since we're pulling this whole thing apart, we have one new one, and just to have, and then we decided to rebuild one of the other two.
I think all the parts are in great shape, so it just was filthy.
Okay, yeah, and the rebuild kit came with new rubber seals.
Oh, okay.
And Wendy's.
There's a couple.
Yeah,
on
Wendy's
here.
Like the O-rings and stuff. So it's just an ingenious design. Jabsco makes good stuff. And here's about $500 and some worth of hose. And unfortunately, this is the stuff you have to use if you don't want smells to permeate through the plastic. Even this heavy PVC that they sell, this is all slimy and greasy, and we couldn't figure out how it got so slimy and so greasy. And it turns out that the fats and stuff that are in the waste product just ooze right through it, and apparently it's very, very difficult to not have that happen. They've been working at it for a long time to try to get hosing, sanitary hosing that doesn't permeate. So what I'm doing here is I'm using my table of lengths. We measured all this nasty hose as we took it off, and labeled each one, as you can see, with the yellow masking tape. And then now I'm using that to cut these down, and I'm going to put them back in the reverse order. Like this is number 9 here, from the macerator to tank. This is thick sanitary hose. It's rubber inside, and it's designed with wire. And the wire around the outside prevents it from kinking. So if you have a tight bend, it stays open and it doesn't collapse.
Cleopatra?
Yes and no. Being on the heart is always it's always a little bit of a drag. You know, you're not really in the water.
Total drag.
So it's a little easier to do work, so there's that. But yeah, we're late. I mean, look at it. All the boats are
Going away.
But check out down the way. I mean, there's just, I don't know, it's half the number of boats here than there was earlier in the month. Yeah. Having fun yet?
Oh yes, a little tired. Got a lot done today.
Got a lot done today. Start working on the engine later on this week. I think that'll put us on schedule to launch by the 1st of the month. That's our target. So